Hello, hello, my freaks, ghouls, and monsters. Welcome to the Gore Horror Hour. Co-host here, Chaotica with
eRock.
eRock, and we are celebrating our 10 years, and this is episode 9. Episode 9 with our lovely guest here, Miss Batsi Von Crazi. Yay! I'm so grateful that you came on with us, Batsy. You've definitely been a part of the 10 years of the Gorgeous Girl magazine and its history. So thank you for honoring me with coming on and letting us ask you some questions.
That's right. Yeah, we miss you. Glad to
Yeah.
see you.
I know I've gone into the shadows.
Ooh, that's what I feel.
Yeah, in the shadows, but you've been doing nothing but good things from what I've been watching from afar.
I try.
Mhm. So you ready for the questions?
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, we'll start off pretty easy. Do you have like any kind of website or anything that you want to promote?
I do have my little startup artist account called Lobotomy. I just post whatever little weird art thing I want, from my stuffed animals that I make to sometimes makeup or other weird things I can conjure up.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Well, I have to say, you look very beautiful today. You look absolutely stunning. And who's your co-host there?
This is Sebastian. He's been with me for 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. Very long time.
A very long time. He looks like a little rough around the edges.
Oh,
Seen better days.
Been around the block a lot.
So when I met you, Batsy, I met you at the Haunted Hydro.
Mm-hmm.
And when did you start acting at the Hydro, and how did you get started, for those that might be interested in doing so?
So how I actually started at the Hydro was I actually got invited to the photo shoots by some people, and I was a little leery, but I finally ended up coming. And after a while, Zombie Jeff, Havoc, and stuff, and of course so many others, they just kind of started taking a liking to me, and Jeff was finally like, "You work here now." And I'm like, "I don't have a choice." He's like, and I'm like, "Okay, guess I'm here now."
And how long were you with the Hydro, and how long had you been acting?
I've been acting 7 or 8 years, and I was with the Hydro 3 years. During COVID, I took a break, and then last year was my first year out of retirement. And I am currently at Blood Prison.
How do you like acting there? It's different from the Hydro.
It is madness. I'm one of the outside little weirdos that scurry around, and I think I loop the main part of that prison,
right,
20 to 30, maybe 100 times a night, because I never stop.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun.
And you're gonna do that again this season?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Dick has already, kind of messaged me. He's like, "You're coming back, right?" So it's like, Dolly, she's like, "You're coming back," and I'm like, "Yes, I'll be back. You guys can't get rid of me now. I'm like a cockroach."
Only come out in the dark.
Pretty much.
Do you have any favorite moments from your photo shoots from the Hydro and so forth?
I think maybe the one time I scared somebody so bad that he almost shit his pants.
Oh, wow.
Weird. It was when I first started modeling, and I couldn't emote the screaming face without screaming.
Right.
And if anybody's ever heard me scream, it is like a banshee. So he wanted to do a little pose where he's like this. And I'm like, "Shit, okay." And when I screamed, he ripped his hand away, jumped back. And he's like, "Your freaking throat just vibrated my hand." And I'm like, "I'm sorry." Your look of just like.
I actually remember I was shooting you, and we got so much done in such a little amount of time, and you were dressed up as the doll with the broken face.
Yeah.
and we ended up having John Cantu in, and he was doing his Clowns and Rainbows.
I forgot about that.
You remember throwing that fake hatchet at him, and it hit
Yeah,
him square in the face and dropped.
where's the face, or was it between his legs? Because I think it was between his legs. I went like this, and it
Okay,
went.
that's right.
And that's why he had like that one picture where he's just like about to fall. Like, oh no.
That's the one. That's one of the epic ones I remember. Like I said, other than the broken down one, I didn't even recognize. I'm like, who the heck's that new girl? Because you had a blonde wig and everything. I didn't even recognize you.
Speaking of that, when I wore that to work one night, like at the haunt, when I worked at the Hydro, I was working a escape room, and I had a big bag of candy, and our then kind of like haunt den mother was like in the office talking. I walked into the office like I normally do, and I'm like, Mom, I brought candy. And she gives me this look like, who the fuck are you? And I'm like, oh, Marsha. She's like, oh my God. I do not even recognize. I'm like, you saw me put on a blonde wig. She's like, I know. I'm like,
That is a very, for me, that one is very iconic to me that I can remember. But I do, working with you, remember working in many of your other characters. You've got some much scarier and messier characters that we've heard about.
Yeah, and it must be very dangerous to work with you, because Zombie Jeff told us about that cover photo shoot that he was a part of, your first cover.
yeah.
Where there might have been a little accident or something, and he was afraid for his life. Tell us about that.
Okay, so I am not the most, stable-minded, stable-bodied, stable in general. And y'all this is on you guys, because y'all are like, yeah, nice, you're fine. And then we found this little spot, back in the woods. And so Zombie Jeff was like on these planes, and he had my pig mask on. That is actually right behind me.
Yeah.
This guy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, what I don't remember what you were, darling. Was in quite a few shoots. But yeah, so I'm wearing also giant platform heels on unstable ground when I am already unstable. All I remember was almost tripping. My cat fell on his chest, and all I heard was I thought he was going to literally actually die, because
He said he did die.
he was so scared.
He said he thought he died that day. He said, I'm dead. I'm dead.
Yeah, I tell people, I'm like, work with me at your own risk. But I don't try to model with too many other people, because I'm like, I'm a menace to society. I'm like, I don't know if you're gonna make it out of this photo shoot alive. Like, it's on you.
You are very creative in your character building and your costuming. What inspires you when you're creating these costumes and characters?
It is, so how my brain works is, imagine Wonderland on acid and murder. I'm thinking in 3D, like absolutely just everything's in 3-dimensional. I can break down things into minute parts. And so what I'll do is I'll pick a genre of what I'm supposed to be doing. Like Fluffy is kind of like a childlike character the most. So I have playlists dedicated to her. I'd watch movies based around how she would act. And then I start going through Pinterest boards so much, and I'll start adding things. And then I'll sit there and I'll watch other people like talk. I had to go through 2 different boot camps for acting. 3 if we count the front door boot camp I had to go through.
Right.
So like, it is my process of making characters is intense.
Right. Because that's back in those days. Hydro used to have a boot camp where they put you through on how to distressing your costuming and doing your makeup.
When I first joined, the boot camp was a little bit more intense, because I was actually a part of Cedar Point when they had their boot camp, and they actually broke it down. Like, there's like 4 or 5 different monster types. Like there's thinkers, feelers, like there was like a whole bunch of senses around them. Like thinkers always bob their heads around and like they have their heads out. Feelers kind of like move with their stomachs like zombies.
Right.
You know, they always like have their stomachs out because they're like food, natural food.
Right.
So like Fluffy's a thinker, so her head's always bobbing around, and an animal that always bobs their heads around are parakeets or parrots,
Right.
birds like that. So like I'll squawk at people
Right.
and stuff, and like that's kind of how it's a lot. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No, please. We've got a whole hour, sweetheart. You are doing just fine. But you don't only just squawk and move awkwardly. You drool a lot too.
Yes, genetics have blessed me in that way. A lot of people comment, "What's wrong with your mouth?" Saliva and black food coloring. That's it.
Right.
There's nothing. That is the only thing. To make it even thicker, I maybe eat like a butterscotch candy and like let it go in like the back of my like
right. Let it
or something to produce even thicker saliva. But yeah, that's all natural. Besides the color.
That is perfect for when you're wanting gross photos and TikToks. Your TikToks are flipping amazing.
When I used to have my actual TikTok.
What kind of makeup do you use, Batsy? Is there a specific brand or is it a montage of things?
Actually, for haunt makeup, I use anything from eyeshadows, like actual eyeshadows, because they blend nicely. They make a good bruising when I need them. I use a lot of Ben Nye and Mayron, like they're water-based paints, they're grease paints, all that stuff, and honestly, whatever I can get my hands on.
Right. Depending on the effect, did you ever use? Some people even use acrylic paints.
I've seen that. Liz Stiletto.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that. I just remember getting a photo of her from Cinema Wasteland, like, look at it. And I'm like, oh, wow, your face is great. And then she's like, no, I was talking about my tits. I was like, oh, no. Then she walked in with like boobs. And I'm like, titty. I remember that one.
Yeah. So going back to influences, would you be surprised to know that you are many of the Gigi's influences?
You are the number one influence on almost all of our Gigi's.
In some way, shape, or form. Does that surprise you?
Oh, I guess a little bit. Like, I don't know. I always try and be helpful when I can. I'm glad. I'm honored. I'm honored. Oh, wow. Huh.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
From the very, very first episode, when I was asked by Absinthe and eRock who my influences were, you were one of my biggest influences. And you and Liz Stiletto and you two are the most mentioned people in our podcast as influencers, because you are just a powerhouse when it comes to creativity and acting and sharing that knowledge and helping other people grow creatively. You're just phenomenal.
Well, Liz Stiletto is basically my sister. So like when me and her like started like, cause like I actually was an apprentice at their tattoo shop, and like me and Liz just kind of like bonded like heavily, and we just became best friends. And like she's kind of like Zombie Jeff helped. Mike and Liz and Havoc were the ones that were kind of like, join the magazine. It's fine. It's fun. Like they were kind of the ones that pushed me. They're like, do it. I'm like, all right, let's do this. So like Mike and Liz have definitely been a big inspiration to, like when it comes to modeling in itself.
So that leads us to our question: how did you get started with the GOREgous Girls?
That's right.
Well, obviously I was coming to the photo shoots and I saw this group of freaking weirdos in the back, and I'm just like, who the hell are these guys? And finally, like that's when like Jeff became my friend, and like I saw like Jeff was like over there, and he just kind of was like, come this way, make friends. And I'm like, okay. And then like obviously Havoc took me under her wing, and then when I started the apprenticeship with Liz Stiletto and my tattoo Mike, it was just history. They're like, you're a part of this now, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, no, it was definitely like really mean.
And I think you are one of the Gigi's, other than Liz, that love working with blood. You both
I
just love
love
shower in blood.
Yeah. Our last photo shoot. Oh my goodness. You went crazy with the blood. All I kept hearing is more.
You told me, and I quote, there needs to be more blood. And I'm like, I got you, boo-boo. Fine, here's a gallon.
And that was one of the most beautiful photos I've ever seen, because you are wearing white and just dripping with blood, and you're sitting there playing with it like a little toddler.
Of course, I love blood. I think it's probably the most beautiful accessory anybody can wear. And
Never heard it described such as an accessory that's beautiful.
Well, okay, think about it. Like, that shade of red looks good on any canvas. Like, I'm just saying, like, no matter what you look like, blood looks beautiful on any skin tone. Any shape, any size, anything.
You've been a part of a lot of shoots. Can you tell me one of your favorites, whether it be yours or maybe somebody else's?
Oh, God. There's been a lot of shoots. I don't want to bring up the Cannibal Hillbilly one with my poor brother. I just remember hearing uncomfortable grunting.
I'm talking about Mike's elbow bumping something and
yeah.
happening.
Or I would honestly say probably some of the shoots that me and Zombie Jeff have done, because we're always, it's never a pretty shoot, it's just a fucking weird shoot. And normally I feel so bad for the photographer, because like, it's not like me and him pose together, it's you better keep shooting because we're acting the whole time.
Yeah, right.
Like, there's no like, sit still. It's like one of us is trying to like take somebody out or something. Yeah, we're brutal to each other. There's actually a photo of me biting his hat, and he's just like, "Whoa!" Poor guy. That man's taken so much of my abuse.
He's taken a lot of abuse.
Yeah. He enjoys it though. He loves it.
Yeah. He always comes back.
This is true.
Yep. So you remember when you first started GG, like first time you were in the magazine?
I don't remember. I think that was when I did my one of my serial killer shoots. I know back when I first started, I did not do anything sexy. It was I was a nun, like completely covered up. And I think it was a photo shoot actually with this mask, and I have a giant meat cleaver around here someplace. And it was kind of like a weird serial killer one. I think David Allen took it, and I think he submitted it. But I know that, I don't know if that was my first one or not. Because like they all kind of start blending together. But I know that one was one of my earlier ones. I think.
Do you have
so
a favorite?
Did that like fuel your fire when you got a cover and were published?
I'm a competitive person. I will tell you that right now. I fight tooth and nail for everything. I'm competitive and I'm passionate. So like, it always fuels my fire when I get like, like on the cover, like that just fueled my fire even more. Like going to conventions and like dealing with the people, I'm very I'm very competitive. So I'm like, my fire is always like a 10 to a 20 when it should probably be like a little bit lower.
Right.
But I'm crazy, so that comes with the territory.
And you talked about cons, and you've entered some costume contests and a screaming contest. Tell us about those.
I did one costume contest, and actually it was kind of funny because me, Liz Stiletto, and
I did too. All three of us did.
I don't think you entered. You were tired.
I was tired. I went home.
Yeah, you were like, fuck this shit. I'm done. Which I don't blame you because I was about to be in that same boat. I'm like, I want to get this off. I want to go to bed. I've got work in the morning. Like, I need to be ready to sell shit tomorrow.
Right.
And then Zombie Jeff was the part. So, like, for original costumes, it was Zombie Jeff, Liz Stiletto, and then I got third place. So we took all 3 places for original concept costume at Horror Hound, I think it was. And then when we were at Fear, I think it was either Scarefest?
I think so, because that was the Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, that was when we did Jeepers Creepers. They announced over the loudspeaker, there's gonna be a screaming contest. And I looked at, I think it was either Jess or eRock, and I'm like, can I go to the screaming contest? And you guys were like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, I grabbed Jeff and I'm like, let's go. I won first place in the screaming contest.
And we could hear you across.
Yes.
Yeah, I am a fan.
You didn't need a microphone. We could hear you.
Normally I don't need a microphone. Like when it comes, I scream from my guts and stuff. So, yeah, those have been the 2 competitions. I do, once maybe I'm starting back into modeling and stuff, I do want to enter more competitions with more detail-oriented costumes.
Right.
So,
yeah. Talking about conventions, do you have a favorite?
There you go.
That you've ever done?
Cinema Wasteland. It's so weird. There's so many weird people, and I enjoy the people I've met there and the things I've gotten there. I have a photo from one of the celebrities. I traded a butt picture for it. And it's a picture of his bare ass wearing the Mr. Rogers mask that he took, and the photo was actually in the Mr. Rogers documentary.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, from what he says, he was the biker guy from, I think, Dawn of the Dead, one of the old zombie movies. He was one of the biker guys, I guess. And me and Liz started chatting with him, and he's like, I'm like, well, he's like, I'll never buy a picture. He's like, but I'd be willing to trade autographs. And I'm like, I'm willing to trade. He's like, would that be something? I'm me and Liz are both looking at him yes. And so me and her both went. We got our posters and stuff. We brought them back to him, and he's like, well, what poster do you want? And me and Liz are like, pick one you like. And he's like, I don't show this one because nobody wants to see it. And me and Liz are just kind of like, what do you mean? And it was a photo of him mooning the camera. I think it was Mr. Rogers' camera that he took with him, wearing the king mask.
Right.
And he signed that for he gave me and Liz both one of those, with his signature and everything. I think that's probably one of my more iconic little autographs that I've gotten.
Speaking of cinema.
Yeah.
That new statue in the back?
That's what I just got from Cinema Wasteland.
What is that? What is that? Ooh, that's awesome. Who made that?
Yeah, Gary and Alicia, the ones that make the lamps, the cool lamps and stuff that are usually around.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah, they made this. I'll give you
That's awesome.
It lights up a little bit. So
that's cool.
Yeah, they surprised me with it.
That's
we just got back from Cinema Wasteland here. By the time this is out, it's about a month ago, but
right. Can you tell me, Batsy, your experience as a model with the GG, how has it changed over the years?
My confidence. I used to be, so before I was really into modeling stuff, I was very, weird enough, quiet. I was a very quiet person. Very shy and push back. And now I'm just I'll talk to anybody.
Right.
And it's almost kind of I'll go to work and I'll talk to anybody about anything, in front of any amount of people. Cause I've had to talk in front of crowds and stuff. And I live very heavily by as Tattoo Mike once said, if they do not feed you, fuck you, or finance you, they do not mean a fuck. And also you're probably not going to see half these people anyways.
Right.
But yeah, big confidence. But yeah.
So,
I gotta, you know how there's, in the GG history, there's always something that goes down behind the scenes, whether it be a con, event, a photo shoot, there's always a GG story or a GG moment. We all have one. Can you tell me one of yours?
You're asking a girl that can barely remember what she had for breakfast this morning to remember everything. Probably just like, I don't know. There's too many of them.
That's what everybody says.
There's a lot of them. There's too many of like, I'm sure I did something weird to somebody. I think it's probably the initiation I used to make people go through to be my friend.
Oh.
I used to like lick people's face. They were called fluffy kisses.
Oh.
And it was when I would lick your face. And this was pre-COVID. Don't yell at me.
Right.
Yeah, I would lick your face and leave a trail of saliva off of it.
Blech, blech.
Yeah. I did that to quite a few people. Zombie Jeff has gotten, I think, so many of them. Especially when he makes me angry.
Well, between you and Valkyrie, you guys like that poor man gets licked and bit so damn often.
He is abused.
He doesn't know which ends up.
Lucky.
But listen, he subjects himself to it.
You're absolutely correct.
He's the reason why me and Val always end up usually in the same room with each other. Is he will bring her to like come over to my house and hang out. So like it is his fault. Like 100% it is his fault.
Mm-hmm.
Can't blame us for that.
Doesn't he call you guys his brats or his little sisters?
Yes, we are the brats.
Yeah.
And stuff. And it like we live up to that every time me and her are out and about together. Because like it almost like sometimes he really does have to keep a leash on both of us because we will go in like this and then he'll be like, shit, I lost them.
I could see him walking you guys around on leashes. I can see that, those little child
The
harnesses.
first convention I ever did, I had a backpack on that was a bat. And Diamond Monroe actually bought a leash and clipped it to the back of my damn backpack. And all the girls were walking me around on a leash.
Wow, that's the third time I've heard this a similar story about being walked around on a leash at a con by the girls.
Yeah.
Zombie Jeff, get this. Guess who these people were? Zombie Jeff, Val, and you.
Are you surprised?
No, not really. Not at all.
No. So, over the years, how has GOREgous Girls changed, and what is some of your experience with them?
I think GOREgous Girls is growing. More shoots, more girls. I know COVID kind of hit. COVID hit everybody,
Right.
but
Right.
I think just being more recognized. I think the DJs are starting to get more into like more stuff. They're getting into more trouble,
Right.
in a sense. So they're always like normally like you see the group of girls and you're like, yep, something's about to go down. So I think it's everybody's learning, so I think it's just getting better.
We have dabbled in not just the movie industry, but we're also doing the Sea Haunt cruises, which we have one coming up here soon in in May, in fact, and another one scheduled for next year, January. So if you go to seahaunt.com, you can make your reservations and there's payment plans available. And we have what celebrities do we have for the January in 2025?
Oh, we just announced Brett Wagner, which he played Leatherface in the 2003 remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then also Alex Vincent we just announced, which was Andy in Child's Play.
Yeah.
So,
and we're also doing the Haunted Hotel Takeover as well in January as well. Again, that's seahaunt.com. Make your reservations. And it's going to be a lot of fun. With that also being said, you know what, Batsy? We're almost 30 seconds away from a very phenomenal event. It's just extraordinary. You know what that as I'm trying to wind this clock down to get to that moment, it's like 45 seconds. We got 15 seconds. It's almost time. We're 10 seconds. We're going. Now we're down to 5 seconds. 5 seconds away, and we're 3, 2, 1. Yay! it is the 30-minute mark. Can we do a silly little dance? Silly little dance. Yeah, get down with it. Come on, come on. That also means it's the FMK hour moment. Do you know what FMK is?
No idea.
You do?
I don't.
You don't? Oh my
No.
goodness. How could you not know what FMK means?
Unbelievable.
We're going back
Listen,
to
I'm under a rock.
I'm bringing back the fuck, marry, kill.
Oh, God.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And I have a choices for you, and you need to tell me who you're going to fuck, marry, kill.
Can I just
Your
kill them
options
all?
are, you ready? Leatherface, Nosferatu, or the Chatterer from the, you know who the Chatterer is, don't you?
Of course.
Okay. Fuck, marry, kill.
Oh. If I had the option, I just kill them all because I just prefer it like that. I mean, can't put the romance without necromancy.
Right?
Probably. I feel like Leatherface is just like he's a sweet man. Like he's a good family man. I feel like he treats me like so. Like I'd probably marry, I'd probably marry Leatherface. Good with his hands, handy around the house, strong, good for him. I'm fucking Nosferatu.
On that one.
I have a thing for dead guys. But then again, I feel like the Chatterer would definitely also be interesting.
Yeah.
But also Nosferatu's kind of hotter. So
Right.
sorry, Chatterer, I'm gonna have to kill you. But they're all three gonna end up dead.
We got our answers. Was it that bad? Was the FMK that bad? Did you enjoy the FMK?
Sure.
A lot easier than the shit that I got.
Yeah, he's still bitter about it. I asked him of the GG mail crew.
Oh, sucks to me, buddy.
I know, right?
Right? Put me on the spot.
What advice would you give to upcoming GG models when going to the cons and events and just wanting to be overall involved?
Stand your ground. Stand your ground for, pick a genre of like how you like to be, and and don't be scared to try new things. Because like at conventions, like you're going to meet all these customers and stuff. So like, don't be scared to try different selling tactics on them and find what works for you.
Right.
But just remember, you are probably not going to see any of these people ever again. No. And if you do, that means they like you.
Right.
So that means you're doing something right.
Right. And they come back to support you, buy merch.
Also, if something gets messed up, just pour blood on it and it's on purpose.
There you go. Yeah. So you know how long you've been with GOREgous Girls?
7 years.
Wow.
So pre-COVID.
10 years.
2018? 2017? No. 2018. I think it was 2018 is when I joined. Don't ask me how many years that's been because that's more than I can count.
6.
I think it's been like roughly 6 or 7 years.
Awesome. Hell yeah.
And you've made at least 2 covers. No, you've been a part of the Dead Neck ones too, so it's been definitely more than 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I don't know. I kind of do what I'm told for the most part.
I show up, I drool, I'm bloody. What more do you want?
Pretty much. Like, what more do you want? Be second. No. I don't wanna.
You mentioned the hydro shoots. Are you going to the hydro shoot in May?
I should be there unless somehow my adulting job says not to.
Right.
Gotcha. I do have, I think, at least 2 costumes picked out. We'll see what happens.
Right. Can you tell me, like we said, you've influenced so many. Who influences you?
Definitely my sister lives stiletto. She's probably her and Tattoo Mike definitely go hand in hand on kind of, I don't want to say raising me, but raising me to be kind of like embracing the more sexier side, because Michael sometimes be like you look terrifying, but
I know.
be a little sexier, and I'm like, I don't want to be sexy, he's a little sexier, and I'm like, fine. He's like, or like the amount of times he's looked at me, he's like, you give me a very confused boner. And I'm like, yeah. So Mike and Liz definitely, when it comes to like my modeling, have been two of my biggest inspirations, because they're always kind of like right there. If I have any questions, they will answer them 110%. And then when it comes to like everything, like with my acting, Zombie Jack for sure. Probably like the haunters that kind of took me in. So like Julia was another one that kind of always took me under her wing, and so many other haunted. Crazy Bob, who putting me through absolute hell for boot camps. He made me cry the first time. Yeah.
Wow.
He literally, when I tell you, like he like overloaded me to the max to where I could not even understand what he was telling me, and I just shut down. I'm like,
But you were one of those top people that of the Hydro crew that, you know, there was nothing that you couldn't do, you know, and you turned on and we wound you up and you went on your own way and you didn't stop until you were told to.
Me and my man. I would say like the amount of like, there are so many weird photos like people have gotten of me chasing customers. Like there's one, I'm hoping I can find it. There's literally a woman trying to get a French fry, and I am over top of her drooling, trying to get this French fry from her. And there's another one, I don't know if somebody got a picture of it, but this other woman, she jumped into her boyfriend's arms and he's holding her up like this. She's trying to kick me and I'm underneath of her, batting at her like feet like a cat.
Boy.
Yeah. And so she's screaming bloody murder. And then last year, I accidentally had to make somebody be police escorted out of a park. Because really? I scared her to the point of like, she was like in the fetal position in the corner of our like security tent screaming. And I didn't know I did that till like later on when the one security guard comes up to me. She's like, are you the weirdo and like that, you know, roams around here? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, nice. And I'm like, what did I do? She's like, that woman was scared so bad that we had to escort her out of the park. And I'm like,
awesome.
Yeah, so kind of backtracking. Yeah, kind of backtracking a little bit. What gets overwhelming for you as a model or an actor, haunt actor?
Sometimes I make a lot of my stuff. So probably what gets the most overwhelming is trying to constantly come up with like, not so much new ideas I can pull out my ass constantly. It's making them be up to my standards. I have such insanely high standards and I never think my stuff's good enough. So like when I look at some of my old photo shoots, I'm like, I could have done that better. I could have made that costume better. I could have distressed that better. I could have acted better. I always think I can do like so much better. So I'm like my biggest freaking critic.
Yeah, I feel that. I just did 2 shoots with Facetious in his studio here, which is, you know, where I'm sitting at right now, and he's showing me some of the photos, and I'm like, my facial features could have been different. You know, I could have, you know, given more emotion in my face or posed a little differently, or like you said, I could do better. I think
honestly that might be another thing I tell people is don't pose, act. Whenever you're doing photo shoots, don't pose, act.
Right.
Treat the photo shoot as a character. Who are you playing as? You're playing a vampire, you're playing a zombie, you're playing whoever.
Right.
Take that into consideration and get into that mindset. And then whenever you're doing photos, don't pose, move. And then you will get such a more natural picture. Because anytime people have ever worked with me, it's either where the hell are you going? Or, wow, that looks really cool.
Yeah, right.
So I think that might be like more like of a yeah.
Because that emotion and that the thing that you're trying to convey comes across in that motion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, make a playlist. I have so many playlists dedicated to different emotions, characters, and feelings. And like
Who's on your playlist?
On Fluffy's playlist, it's a lot of one of my favorite artists is Emily Autumn, and her whole stick is like Victorian, asylum, child. There's also another lovely artist called One Eye Doll, and she's got a song named Ponies, and she's got another one that's called Committed, and they're very like upbeat, and like Ponies just sounds like a child repeating the word pony like for like 2 minutes straight.
Right.
But yeah, it's all about moods.
Right. eRock.
Yeah.
You have any more questions?
Oh, yeah. So, what is your GG story or moment? There's got to be at least one that sticks out in your head.
Oh shit.
Talk about the camp out. A memory at the camp out.
Where
do you usually find Batsi Von Crazi at the camp out?
Normally. Probably at the camp out was when I started to kind of like I don't had anything weird happen to me at the camp outs.
You like
pretty much like kind of like I sat back and watched all you other people doing weird shit.
But you were on the trampoline the whole time.
Yeah.
That was my trampoline. Listen, it was the most comfortable spot. The only stipulation was you can't wear a top of the trampoline. Fine. I'm gonna sit here on my belly and play on my phone then. I would say maybe like a GG moment was like I would say maybe at Cinema Wasteland, my first one.
There you go.
Oh my god. It was my first Cinema Wasteland. I did not know what the hell was going on. And I'm not a drinker. I've tried. God knows I've tried, but I forget. I forget constantly that I'm consuming alcohol, and then I'll be like, oh, water. I'd be a good person to hydrate.
Was that the one weekend we shared a room?
No, this was before you were a part of, I think, GG. This was like my first year.
Okay.
And I was sitting like kind of in the hotel, like there was like this weird like little sitting couch thing in like the entranceway, and I'm just kind of sitting there chilling, people watching. Everybody else is drunk off their ass, and this dude sits down next to me. He's like, "You're pretty," and I'm like, "Thank you." He's like, "Would you date me?" No. He's like, "You want a beer?" I don't drink. I can't date somebody who don't drink. Got up, left me, and I'm like, okay. So comes back 5 minutes later. Would you care if I drank? I'm like looking at him. I'm like, I don't care if you go fuck a disease-ridden hooker. Go away.
Yeah, I love hookers.
Before I had like really any confidence, so I'm like looking at this guy. I'm like, you're scary.
Well, I'm definitely going to share this because when you and I shared a room, we both were drinking the whipped vodka with the orange pop
and snacks
and yes, snacks, and we had a bit too much, and we were giggly little girls that needed a nap really fast. Now, the very first night we shared a bed, okay, we stayed our respective edges, right? We clung those edges. By the second night, we got a little closer and we're starting to fight over blankets. Next night is like she's all starfished out, face down.
Let's talk more around all that stuff. Or like, I would always sleep underneath the desk. I would always sleep underneath the desk because my logic was nobody's going to expect somebody to pop out from underneath the desk if somebody tries to break in.
This is true.
You and Miss Kitty, something to do with underneath those desks.
Listen, we're not going to get stepped on.
True. That is very true.
Also slept in the bathtub.
I did what?
You have slept in the bathtub once before, haven't you?
No, Havoc slept in the bathtub, and I had to babysit her for 2 hours in the bathtub because her butt was dry. I was also that's a story about that, I love her. I love Havoc. She's like a sister. But when we had Put and Play Con, I think that's probably one of the times where I was very inebriated. And so she was also very inebriated. But I knew my limits. So I gave my drink to somebody else. So to one of the guys that were working at the hydro. I'm like, do you drink? He's like, yeah. I'm like, cool, drink this. It was like almost a full drink. And I'm like, I need to be escorted back to our hotel room. And at the time, me and him weren't that close of friends, but now he's like a brother to me.
Right.
Poor guy walked, and and another guy walked us back. I forget what his name was. But they walked us back, and I'm like, thank you. And Havoc's like, I'm going to go use the bathroom, and then I'm going to walk back with you guys. And it's like, okay, cool. I'm in the shower. All I hear is the door rip open. I'm in the shower.
Right.
The door rip open, and I'm like, I peek out, and I'm like, and I see Evan, and he's just like, she threw up everywhere. So I'm like, call Jim. Give me the phone. So we called Jim. We got her stuff taken care of, and I got out of the shower. I'm like, you shower. And she laid in the shower for 2 hours. That's actually how me and Jimmy became friends, because me and Jimmy spent 2 hours talking about arts and crafts. And I would go in, I would call out to her. I'm like, Havoc, are you still alive? Nothing. I rip out the door. I'm like, Havoc. She's like, don't look at me, I'm naked. I'm like, I took my personal pillow and I put it in the shower with her. And I sacrificed my own pillow so that way she would be comfortable in the shower. Yeah. And then Zombie Jeff came in freaking drunk as shit too. So I give him a 2 drunk ass.
And that's why you're the pain in the ass little sister.
Oh my God, yes.
Batsi, what other ventures have you been up to these days other than the working at the prison?
Adulting. A lot of no, trust me, it's been. I've been taking a lot of time to step back and kind of get myself back on the track, because I feel like I was just ping-ponging too much. I was under so much stress, and I'm like, I've got too much on my plate right now. I need to step back and just cut stuff out, focus on my mental health, and then come back. So I've been doing more of adulting stuff, getting city bills paid off, decorating my house. I'm actually repainting most of my house.
Right.
Yeah, excellent job behind you.
Yeah, excellent job behind you.
Which one?
Behind you, the paint job.
This one?
Yeah, all the blood.
The nut job's behind me.
No, the paint job behind you.
Oh, yeah.
The nut job behind you.
I was like,
let me zoom in. Is there a nut job?
I mean, I'm the nut job. So there was a guy. There was multiple guys. They pissed me off. They're now on milk cartons. Shit happens.
Yeah,
I can see that.
It's fine. It's only a missing person report till a dead body's found. And trust me, I ain't gonna find shit.
Right. Have you dabbled in any acting or movies or anything like that recently?
Weirdly enough, yes.
Tell me about it.
So I was an extra for I don't want to give out too much, but I was an extra for a zombie movie that I think will be coming out maybe this summer, maybe next year.
Nice.
But the lovely Sabrina, which is one of our other girls, lovely woman, I messaged her. I'm like, hey, I wouldn't mind trying to be out of movies. And within a few days, she's like, come be an extra. And I'm like, okay. I got killed too many times.
Right.
There was a lot of blood. It was a lot of fun.
Right.
I got to do some cool stuff.
Right. Do you have more acting or movies on your list to do, or is it just a one-time thing for now?
I mean, if somebody were to message me and be like, hey, you want to be an extra? Hey, you want to come do this acting thing? I would never say no as long as I can get to there safely because I have anxiety driving.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would never say no to an acting stuff. And I'm like, cool, let's do this shit.
Right.
I'm all for being a homicidal maniac. I'm good at that.
It's always a joy working with you, Batsi. I've not just at the Hydro, but getting together with all the haunt actors outside of things and the whole GG family. It's always been a pleasure working with you, watching you be a fool crawling and creeping people out and drooling on people, and you're a phenomenal person, and I hope to see more from you. I really do. But I'm so glad that you helped us with episode 9 and the whole 10-year of the GG history. Like I said, you have been a very pivoted. No,
that
you've been a very important person.
Pivotable.
I don't know what I was trying to say.
So,
but I am so grateful that you're here.
Right, me too. And so, any plans on you making an event or anything in the near future?
Probably not this year. Maybe next year, probably when you'll see me start coming out of the shadows a little bit more.
Okay.
Probably won't be like as in your face because I'll be working more on my own little business stuff, my own little business adventures. But I'll probably be at 1 or 2 conventions next year, hopefully.
That's awesome.
Well,
I know when we did Scarefest a couple years ago, when you came out and you brought all of your creations to our booth that one year, you had like this big pile of these bears that you had made, and
there had to have been at least 50 of them.
Yeah, and you sold every single one of them, right?
Yeah, I've done that twice. All of my bears are gone.
Mm-hmm.
At every convention I've ever brought toys to, they sell out.
Right.
So they're so bizarre and weird looking. I guess people because I don't just use clay. I use clay and stuff, but I also use sometimes real animal bones,
Right.
and different things I can get a hold of.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
Yeah.
the toys will definitely be coming out a lot more.
So I assume you've already started making some of these that you have around the house?
Not right now because I haven't had enough fundage to make them the way I like them because I'm improving them.
Right.
Some of them will be snack jars. Some of them will be purses. Some of them can talk. I actually did a custom one for the lovely Valkyrie Rose and Zombie Jeff that actually talks.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's dressed up as zombie Uncle Sam. And there's a little I told Val, I'm like, well, I can make these talk. She's like, so there's a cute little hidden message that I'm gonna let stay between him and her.
Right.
But every time he hugs it or something, it talks to him.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So don't start a toy conversation with me because that'll be a whole nother.
Right.
There's so many things I have planned for these toys.
Come say hi, Facetious. You want to say hi to Facetious?
Yeah. Considering she's at my house, yeah.
Nadia.
We're wrapping up our episode 9 with the lovely Miss Batsi here, and we were telling her how important that she was to our history. And
oh yeah, she was very important. We still talk about her because we miss her.
I know.
Oh yeah, very
just
much.
letting you know that when you come out of the shadows, we're here for you. We're ready for you to come play with us
I
again.
appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Facetious, do you have a question for her? I interrupted you. I was asking Facetious if he had any questions for Batsi.
When is she coming to my studio?
We were just talking about that, weren't we, Batsi?
Yeah, actually, we literally just were. I do know I plan on coming to your studio to do something weird. Of course, it's going to be bloody.
Right.
Yes.
It's just going to be when I have the extra fundage to start making more in-depth characters.
Right.
Okay.
That's been the biggest thing is I'm going to do costumes that are a lot more in depth, like my Cannibal Burlesque girl,
Right.
because that's going to be all like looking like human flesh. The beating will be teeth, you know, boa skirts and everything. I have a lot of weird ideas planned out.
You're the reason why I go into such detail about my outfits that you haven't seen since I haven't seen you.
Right.
Okay.
It's all about details.
It is.
But sometimes the smallest details will be the biggest thing people see in pictures.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Very true.
They always, it's my earrings. They always notice my earrings.
Earrings and whatnot.
And your shoes.
Shoes. Yeah, he's got some
that
great
surprised
shoes.
me. But yes.
I know I sent you so many shoes, but none of them fit.
I'm getting older now, and then heels and certain platforms just don't work anymore.
No, they don't.
And don't try skating in his downstairs studio. Not a good idea.
No, I barely have the stability to, you know, stand on 2 feet, let alone we start putting wheels on that.
I know, right? But Batsi, once again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
I hope to continue to hear from you, and hope you continue to influence those. And again, kind of like NCAP here, kind of we're touching base. Don't forget to check out chunt.com for the cruise in January of next year. And we've got the hydro shoots coming up in May and June as well. Yeah, thank you so much, Batsi, for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Chaotica.
Yep. It was a pleasure getting to see you again. Finally.
Yes.
I know, I've been in the shadows a lot.
I know. Now I know who's in the shadows when I'm looking around my.
I know, right?
I'm always creeping around.
She's biting your ankles.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hey.
Again, episode 9. Thank you so much. That's a wrap. We're gonna go ahead and love you so much, Batsi. Much love to you. And this is it. Thank you so much for watching the Gore Horror Hour. We appreciate it. Love ya. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.